If you ever wonder, you're sitting around the crowd at a kumzitz, perhaps at a chasna, and you're at a simcha, you're at some type of event where there's singing and there's dancing, and if you'll notice, there are those that are involved, there are those that are very involved, and those that look for excuses, their heads are down, they're not singing, they're not moving to the rhythm, they keep themselves a little bit out of it. And it's slightly indicative, if not more, as to their personality. And it's their ability to be expressive, to be involved, to be motivated to change. Those who are a little more colder in nature, they keep that which they have inside, deep within. It's harder for them to get to move. It's harder for them to get to the next step. They're complacent. They are where they are. They know by letting themselves go emotionally, in a ruchnius way, in a spiritual oifen, it's going to lead to change. It's going to put them into uncomfortable situations. We all have that in some level. So how do we make sure that when it comes to a Parshas HaChodesh, a time of Eschatshus, a Chodesh Nisan, the Rosh HaChadoshim, the time when we renew ourselves, how do we make sure we don't fall into this spell of complacency, this lack of motivation, which obviously propels a lack of growth, and we come out with nothing? How do we turn it into one where we don't feel that we're driving a golf cart, but instead we understand the power that's deep within each one of us, that we have a driving like some F-16. We could take on the world, we could affect change, we can make ourselves great. What's the turning point? How do we determine the difference, and how do we make sure that it's part of us as we approach this auspicious Shabbos? We know there are 4 Goliaths. There are 4 exiles that the Jews go through. And we have each and every one of us that going into it now, we have some level of each of them that we go through even today. Part of Golus Mitzrayim is that the Jews didn't want to leave. They were stuck with Mitzrayim. They were stuck in their boundaries. They were constricted. They didn't want to go. It wasn't the pshat that they weren't able to go. The borders were so secure that the Jews didn't want to leave. I don't know what's going to be. There's a desert coming up. I see there's a desert. I don't know. I don't want to leave. It's more comfortable here. I know it's pitiful, and I know in a bad situation, but the unknown, looking at a desert advance, I can't do that. I'm not willing to make that step. Not willing to move. That was the chesar. That's why 80% of the Jews never made it out. Because who wants to move? Who wants to change? And we see it today as well, the apathy, the complacency that we all sit with, the heaviness, the stress that we go through on a daily basis precludes us from moving on, from giving us the ability to motivate, to set goals for us, to aspire for something greater, to affect change within each one of us. Comes along Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and we say, "Chodesh hazeh lachem." There's a time of eschatshus in the air. There was a time of eschatshus, of renewal, in the times of Mitzrayim. But when the Jews didn't pick up on it, when the Jews didn't take it, the Mitzrayim did. And the Svarim said, "Vayikra melech chadash." He was mechadash gzeirosav. If the Jews don't pick up on that ruach of eschatshus, then the Mitzrayim do. And it only works to our detriment. But comes a chodesh hazeh lachem, and there's a new type of eschatshus. It's a time for all of us to renew ourselves. And there's something in the air if we tap into it. As David HaMelech says, "Haitzia mi masker nafshi lahoides Hashemecha." How are you hoides Hashemecha? How do you say Hallel on Pesach? How are we going to be mahal, thank and praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Only when it's Haitzia mi masker nafshi. When we take our feelings which are deep within, our greatness which is constricted, under binds, it's been masker, it's locked up. When we take it out, and we could feel the greatness that we have, the Tzelem Elokim, the part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our unique mission that we have to bring to this world. We sense that chayros, we sense that freedom, then our neshama sing. Then we thank the Wahoidus Hashemecha, we bring ourselves to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But we have to get to that step of opening ourselves up first. Realizing it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but we got to take that step. That's why the Rebbeinu Shalom says, "Lech teich achar b'midbar be'eretz le'zerua." What was the Gavaldike Chesed? Chesed Nurayach. This Chesed, this kindness that we did for HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's lasted thousands and thousands of years. What's the big deal? HaKadosh Baruch Hu for a year straight. God sends us miracles for 1 year straight that we see things which are astounding, mind-boggling. Who wouldn't follow God? Who wouldn't follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu into the Midbar? But yet 80% did it. So because Hashem realized that to take that one step into doing something uncomfortable, walking with me even into the Midbar, Lech teich acharei b'midbar be'eretz lo zerua. You couldn't see the comfort, you couldn't see it, the living with Hashem. And you took that step. That's a chesed nurayach, that's a kindness which lasts me forever. Taking that step of change, empowering yourself. So if we want to have that Parshas HaChodesh affect us, we have Leiv, Tar, Barali Elikim, and only then we have this chachas. Only when we work on ourselves, we prepare ourselves, we cleanse ourselves in some manner, we tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're going to start on a new slate. We're going to take on something that might be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's the way we're going to be zeicha. We're going to feel that ruach, that feeling, that spirit of eschachas, that spirit of renewal that comes down this Shabbos. So let us make that step. We take that moment and we realize that the Shibud of Mitzrayim wasn't about getting into Eretz Yisrael. What is it about accepting the Torah? It was just about leaving Mitzrayim. When we remember the whole Chodesh Nisan, the Rosh Chadashim, that the whole effect of the change of the start is when we get out of the situation we are now. We move up. We move further as we step closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One step. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's going to make the change that's going to affect our lives. Have a wonderful Shabbos.